Hello, I hope you're doing well today. We're here with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane DC Direct Page Punchers Justice #1 Batman. So Alex Ross Batman. This one's exciting for me because Alex Ross is, I would say, my favorite Batman artist and maybe my favorite just superhero artist in general. I love the realistic look that he brings to the classic costumes. So I'm excited to finally be getting a figure of this version of Batman. It's been a long time, and it seems like suddenly a bunch of companies are starting to release these versions. Beast Kingdom did a Batman and Superman, McFarlane's doing a Batman and Superman, and InArt is doing a Batman and a Superman as well. So I don't know what it is that suddenly is making all these companies make these. I guess the same thing that made all the companies release Hush Batmans all at once. I don't know. But I'm glad to be getting these guys. It is a bit late in the line. It would have been cool if we had gotten the entire Justice League in the Alex Ross style, because I probably would have bought all of them. But since we're only getting Batman and Superman, I figured I would just settle for Batman. Before we take a look at the figure too closely, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the packaging. So this is the Page Punchers box. It's completely wrapped in plastic, kind of old school in that way. We have a big window so we can see the figure inside and some of his accessories. DC Direct Batman comes with a free comic book. I really do like that gimmick. It harkens back to the Toy Biz days. Flip into the back of the box, and here's the comic book it comes with, Justice #1 by Alex Ross. So there's the price tag. I bought this guy at GameStop for about 30 bucks. Not the cheapest place to get him, but I don't know. I like to be able to look at the figures in person when I purchase them. So we're going to go ahead and take this guy out of the package and see what he comes with. All right, before we take a look at the figures, accessories, I'm going to show you this comic book here. It's Justice #1. This is the beautiful Alex Ross art, the realistic portrait painting style. And that's the artwork of the whole book too. And so just gorgeous. So it's really neat that they include these comic books for the Page Punchers figures, especially when the price isn't really that much of an increase, I don't think. I think 27 to 30 bucks is sort of the regular price for McFarlane nowadays. I'll mention about the box, I didn't say this while we were looking at it. It is completely wrapped in plastic, so it is not resealable. So if you open it up, you're doing permanent damage to the box, which is not ideal for a reviewer like me because it makes it harder to maybe review a figure and then resell it when I'm done with it. So I don't love that, but we'll just go ahead and take a look at what the figure comes with. First of all, he comes with an extra set of hands, which are these like wide open, splayed out hands. And they're actually, so this figure's body is a reuse of Earth 2 Superman. And so these are just Superman flying hands. And so you can see they're not supposed to be gloves. They have like some wrinkling and fingernails and stuff like that in the fingers. It's nice enough though. Then we also get this trading card. So here's a picture of what Batman's supposed to look like here. We'll talk about whether or not the figure captures that. We have a little bio of Batman. Then we also get the little black display stand. So these two are standard for McFarlane figures. I don't oppose, or I'm not completely opposed to the display stand. I am opposed to the trading card, however. I don't like those. Waste of money. So no batarangs or anything like that. But now that we've looked at the accessories, we'll go ahead and get some height and scaling. These McFarlanes are a bit bigger of figures, so it's kind of harder to fit them into the frame. I'm gonna get the tape measure out. Batman here, to the top of his head, stands about 7 1/4 inches. To the top of his ears, he's just shy of 8. So, seeing how that compares to another McFarlane figure, we'll take the original body for Superman, Action Comics 1000, and that's how they scale. Yeah, so this body is a bit bigger. I think this body was kind of the answer, for Superman was the answer to the Hush Batman body, which was a bigger Batman body. So McFarlane is definitely scaled up over the years. Looking at more of a Legends comparison, here we have the Game Reverse Captain America. Clearly out of scale here. So next up, we're going to take a look at a Street Fighter figure. Here we have the Soda Toys Preview Ryu. I chose this figure because he's almost like Ryu in the 7-inch scale. And I don't know, he might be a bit too short. So I was curious about that one. I thought that might work, but he might be a bit too short. And lastly, here we have the DC Universe Classics, The Question. Yeah, clearly out of scale. I just do some of these for fun, and so you can get an idea. So there we have all of that. All right, finally we can take a look at the figure himself. I think overall he has a good look to him. I think just looking at him, you know what he's supposed to be. He's Alex Ross Batman. I think that this Superman body was a good choice. So I think overall, like, you'll stick him on a shelf, and if you don't look at him too closely, I think he will do just fine. But we're going to take a look at him nice and closely. We're going to start with this head sculpt. So starting with the head, there's a few things that I don't love. So I think the top half of the head works. I do. It's got some nice wrinkling in the forehead here with the eyebrows and the realistic eyes and face, which is accurate to the Alex Ross artwork. I think I remember him saying that he almost wanted the mask to look like it's Batman's face, and so that's why he has all the wrinkles and stuff in there. The paintwork is not great, in my opinion. If you can kind of see, he's kind of got one eye that's bigger than the other, and this one eye that's bigger than the other. And then down here, if you can tell, like the mask paint going down to the mouth is not that clean. And so you may be saying, okay, well, that might just be a problem with your figure. Here's the thing. I bought this guy at the GameStop in my town, and then I drove to the next town over to look at another GameStop where I knew they had this guy, and to see if maybe I wanted to return this one and get the other one because it might be better quality. It wasn't. The other one still had the problem with the eye and the not clean mask transition. So that's definitely something to be aware of. Another thing I don't love is his, I guess, his actual like face, lower face. It's almost like it's like they took the chin of another bigger Batman and then stuck it on a smaller head. I don't know. It just looks like the way it looks really puffy and fat, the way it comes out. And it's not as noticeable from the front, but if you just turn him like this way, he has like a huge jaw that kind of looks a little, and cheekbones, which make him look like he kind of has a fat face. It doesn't bother me too much, especially just looking at it from the front. I think it still looks pretty nice. And I mean, I'm not going to be like holding this guy an inch from my face looking at all the little details. I'm going to set him on a shelf and he's going to be Alex Ross Batman. So, I mean, all those things I pointed out don't bother me too much. Obviously, I bought the figure. Moving down to the logo, it's good. It has that Alex Ross look to it that's unique to his artwork. I don't know if I love having the printed logos versus like a sculpted logo like on the original Hush figure that we've looked at a couple times on the channel, because usually it doesn't print just perfectly. I can tell the bottom of the bat down here is in line with the chest. You can kind of see that center line between the pecs, but at the top it is not lined up. So this logo isn't perfectly center, and it kind of looks like this side is a bit squished in compared to this side. And I've seen figures in the store, other Batmans, like that new 52 one that came out recently, and the printing is just all completely messed up. So I think I would have preferred to, even though it wouldn't be accurate to Alex Ross's artwork, if they had just had a separate sculpted piece put on top of the chest, because it would have been less room for imperfections. But so it's disappointing to think like, yeah, he looks good from afar, but if you hold him up close, he doesn't look great. I don't know. It's a bit disappointing in that regard. Also, the gray might be a bit too dark for Alex Ross. If you look at the trading card, I had it out earlier. It's put away now, but if you look at it earlier, yeah, he's a bit dark compared to the trading card. Overall, I think the body proportions are nice. This is definitely one of the better McFarlane bodies, and I think it's kind of realistically proportioned in the way the suit fits on the body. It all looks realistic and captures that art style, so that I'm fine with that. The belt, I think, is a bit under-detailed. It's just one color all the way throughout. So it would have been nice to have had a little bit more color put maybe between the pouches, or maybe a bit of a shine to the buckle or something that would have made it look a bit nicer. But other than that, like the gloves are sculpted in, which is nice. I feel like that's a luxury when it comes to McFarlane. They don't usually do that. The legs are all well proportioned. The feet are shaped nicely enough too. So I'll mention on the back he has the Barbie cape with that shiny material. I don't love that. I would have preferred something like what they do for Superman, which is they just kind of have this cloth, soft, almost like gym short material that's nice and soft. You can put it in a wired pose and it'll still hold its pose, but it's also still like droopy and it hangs. If anything, you would think they'd give the shiny material to Superman and then kind of a more matted material to Batman, but they don't do that for some reason. So I've talked in depth about the capes on my Hush 2 Batman video, so go check that out if you like. So aesthetically, he'll do, is what I have to say about that. Goodness. Looking at the posability, starting with the head, they do double ball pegs here. So looking up, he looks up fairly well. For reference, that's neutral. So that works nicely. Looking down, he looks down pretty well too, I would say. Neutral looking down. So that works. I do like the profile. I like that nice pointy nose there. He also gets a lot of tilt. So that works nicely. We have these cap shoulders that I do like the implementation. I think that they don't take away from the look of the figure, and we get a lot of range on that there. So raising the arm up with that cap, we can get above 90. Without it, we're just going to get neutral. We get our rotation. Butterfly going forward and back, I mean, that's his cross right there. That's not very good. Going back is a bit better. Moving down, we've got our bicep swivel there. That works nicely. We have some ratcheted elbows here. I'm hoping that that'll actually bend. I'm hoping my figure isn't. There we go. So he'll get all of his range. It's not the best looking thing, how flat it is there. But, I mean, if you kind of just use the bottom joint, it'll look a bit more natural. He's got pins, just in case you care about that. Ball hinge wrists. It'll go all of the directions that you need it to, and again, it gets all the range that you need it to as well. And I think these are implemented pretty well. Also, moving down to the torso piece, this is my first time ever messing with this body mold. So it gets a fair bit of rocking around on there. Look at that side to side. That works nicely enough. He leans back well enough and forward. Push it, not great. Moving down to the bottom joint, mine is really stuck. If you use both joints, yeah, not great. This belt doesn't help either, how high it sits. Kind of gets in the way a little bit. And one thing I noticed on this guy and the other Batman that I looked at in the other GameStop, the torso, the bottom piece is kind of tilted a bit. If you can see, this is him standing straight up. You can kind of see how it's kind of running diagonally a little bit. So, I don't know, I might just have to like heat him up, take him apart, and shift things around. Well, I might have fixed it right there. I don't know. But yeah, that bottom joint, I'm not getting much movement from that, and part of that might just be the belt here. Moving down to the hips, we get full splits there, just about. The diaper doesn't really get much in the way. There's not as much excess there. Kicking forward, he can almost hit 90. So that'll be fine. He has a little bit of thigh swivel built in there. Double jointed knees are very ratcheted. Proportioning is good. And it looks okay and gets plenty of range. You can also, I guess if you wanted to, hyperextend it And then lastly, moving down to the ankle, or not lastly, points the toe that far down, that far up, and then he gets his ankle rocker, which gets 90. So that's nice. And he has a toe hinge, which works fairly enough. So, and the cape holds a pose well enough as well. I don't know if there may not be enough cape, in my opinion. It would be nice if maybe they gave a bit more in the front to hang down in the front so it could droop over his shoulders, because Alex Ross's Batman is he usually has the cape hanging over his shoulders. That's the issue with bringing something like his logo to action figure form, is that it's hard to find like a good look, like some artwork that fully shows the Bat logo. So overall, do I recommend this figure? I mean, look, your options for Alex Ross Batman, they're growing, but they're still slim. I mean, we have Beast Kingdom, and Beast Kingdom, from what I've seen, does not put out very good figures. I'm not purchasing any Beast Kingdom figures, but over the years, I've seen the kind of stuff they put out. I would just say do your own research if you want to pay like an extra 10 to 20 bucks for a Beast Kingdom over this guy. And then you have InArt, which, depending where you get it from, can be anywhere from $100 to $150. I would like to pick up the InArt. It does look really nice, but that's probably just not in the budget. So I think that for me, Alex Ross is my favorite artist for Batman. If they had done the entire Justice League, I would have picked up the entire Justice League, honestly, because that's my ideal look for a lot of heroes. So if you're an Alex Ross fan, I would say I recommend it. It's easy enough to look past some of the issues, and I think the figure does overall have a nice look to him if you don't look too closely at him, as I say again. So the price is reasonable. I mean, you don't get a ton of accessories, but you get a nice comic book as well. So overall, if I haven't said it already, he's a fair enough release. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.